What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So nobody came even close to the popularity of Chris Bumstead since forever, since Arnold himself. The combined Instagram followers of Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler and Phil Heath, they are still less than Chris Bumstead's. And the thing is cbum's followers, they are still increasing. So there is this big question in the mind of all the cbum followers. In fact, the entire bodybuilding world. Is cbum done for good? Or is he gonna come back? Maybe not in 2025, but maybe the year after that. When he starts missing that adrenaline of being on the stage, the crowd cheering for him, the rush of being on the prep. Because if we look at the post that he made just a few days ago, even he himself was so scared to walk away from this life because bodybuilding gave Chris Bumstead more than he could have ever imagined. And no matter how much success he attains in the other aspects of his life, nothing will ever come close to being 6 times Classic Physique Olympia champion. So the head judge Steve Weinberger, he himself said that Chris Bumstead needs maybe 10 or 15 pounds of solid muscle on that frame to be extremely competitive in the men's open bodybuilding. I mean, he was still very competitive just after using 4 weeks of rebound after the Olympia this year, and that is what we saw at Prague this year. And he beat a bunch of very great bodybuilders at his men's open bodybuilding debut. And he only got beat by the number 4th guy in the world in the men's open, Martin Fitzwater. And with this exact same physique, he could have been as high as top 8 at the Olympia in the men's open. But the question is, will he ever come back? Now, as of right now, he is retired for good, and the man is loving it. Next up, we have an update from John De Rosa, who did not place as high as he was expecting at this past Miss Olympia. But him qualifying for the Olympia, beating a very great version of Muhammad Fada at such a late stage in his career, that in itself was such a huge achievement. So not many people realize that John De Rosa is one of the most experienced IFBB pros in the current circuit, one of the true veterans of the sport, because out of the all pros who are actively competing at the moment, only Brandon Curry is the one guy who has been competing longer than John as a pro. And what we saw from John throughout this year, that was his all-time best. Specifically his version at the Arnold, Ohio this year. That look was so damn good, so phenomenal. So John placed 12th at this year's Miss Olympia. But his own expectations, they were top 10. So the judges had the same feedback for John after the Olympia this year as they had after the Arnold, Ohio. He needs more size, specifically in the front shots, because his side as well as his back shots, they are just so damn complete. So not having a very chiseled midsection, not having very deep abs, they take a lot of things away from his front shots, like the front double biceps and the front lat spread, and that makes him very vulnerable. So he is gonna be back on the off-season grind very soon, and he is gonna get ready for this upcoming 2025 season. So the best case scenario for him, that would be to compete later in the year, possibly closer to the Olympia, to make the maximum out of this entire off-season. Next up, we have the current physique update of the legend, the man who holds the record of the most Arnold Classic wins, as well as the most number of IFBB Pro wins in the entire bodybuilding history, the Blade, Dexter Jackson. So the man retired from competitive bodybuilding after competing for almost 3 decades back in 2020, but still maintaining a muscular physique. So Dexter always said that after he's retired, he's gonna drop a lot of muscle, and that is totally understandable. There is no point pushing 6 meals a day when the man isn't looking to stay so huge. But he also said that he's gonna be working out for as long as he can and maintain a lean physique, and that he has done so far. Now, if you have followed Dexter's career, he was always of the opinion that he had to work really hard to maintain that amount of muscle mass, especially at the tail end of his pro career. And that is why he dropped size way faster than Phil Heath and Jay Cutler after retirement. So in terms of the success that Dexter Jackson had, purely from the perspective of longevity, I don't think we are gonna see another bodybuilder with this kind of statistics. So Dexter made his Olympia debut back in 1999, and he finished his career at the Olympia 21 years later at that same show. So most bodybuilders are lucky to have a 10 years professional career where they can truly achieve their full potential. But on the other hand, Dexter continued to thrive up until the Olympia 2019. So at his last Miss Olympia competition, Dexter placed 9th, and that was his lowest placing at the Olympia since 1999, where he placed ninth. Now, I don't know whether it's fair for some of the fans who keep pointing out that it wasn't so much his genetics that allowed him to stay so big and so round over the years. The gear also played a vital role. But let me remind you guys that he is 55 years old and he is enjoying a retired life. And yes, I get it, he isn't that big anymore. But the thing is, still, he looks pretty damn good. So it was definitely more than his gear and his genetics that allowed him to stay so big. He was extremely regimented. So pushing 440 pounds on the bench press by a guy of his height, Xiaoman Yan is very impressive and he has amazing strength. So his strength in the gym, that also shows on the stage, on his physique, because he is one of the most dense bodybuilders right now. He has that insane chest development, crazy density as well, and he has those amazing quads. Now, I was hoping to see him compete sometime this year, but he just decided to keep on packing more size. So Xiaoman looked absolutely mind-blowing last year at Flex Pro Italy, and he was able to beat Blessing Avudibu. And ever since he started working with Chris Bumstead, he has been bringing great looks to the stage. And I guess his only problem, that is his height. Because there is only a certain amount of muscle that he can pack on his frame. There can be only so much muscle mass on that kind of frame before Xiaoman starts to get blockier. So this is the true off-season phase of a bodybuilder where strength is also at its peak. So a guy like Xiaoman, he is in a very hard place where he just cannot do 212 because there is just no way he can make the weight. So pound for pound, he isn't a small guy in terms of pure muscularity, especially for the men's open, but there is nothing he can do about his height. So here we have a clip of the 7 times Miss Olympia champion, one of the most gifted bodybuilders in the history of the sport, posing at the Arnold Classic 2010. So this physique of Heath, that is widely accepted as one of his greatest ever, because he was just so complete and so round beyond belief. So here is one aspect of it that wasn't pointed out before. Can we all agree that Phil's midsection and all the problems that he had in that regard that started to get worse and worse over the years? It was especially more evident back in 2017 when Big Romy was chasing him and he placed second behind Heath. Well, look at this particular point where Heath is about to hit that abs and thigh shot. Now, I have got to say, if social media was this active, as it is now, where almost everything is put under the microscope, I have got to say these pictures of him with a distended gut, that would have been all over the bodybuilding pages and all over the YouTube bodybuilding videos. And this video goes to show us that the men's open bodybuilding guys in the current era, they have absolutely zero margin of error, especially on the stage. And the judges have also been making all these guys more accountable about controlling their midsections, especially in the transitions as well. Still, that was a great version of Heath, and I believe that would still fight for the Olympia title, even to this day. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.